Hello, this is Matt Parry, rackets manager of David Lloyd Harrogate and founder of MPTC Tennis. Today is the second part of the serve series videos, and we are going to do a video on the perfect tennis serve ball toss or ball throw. The most problematic part of the serve is the ball throw. There will be nobody out there that plays tennis that doesn't know of somebody who is currently or has struggled with the throwing part of the tennis serve. We're going to break this into two parts. Part one, which is today, is going to be the biomechanics of how the arm works, and then part two, which will come in the next couple of days, will be a series of drills that you can do to practice your ball throw or your ball toss. So for the biomechanics section, we're going to start with checkpoint one, which is what your arm should be doing during the throw. So you have to have your arm locked. There has to be no bend in the elbow, no bend in the wrist, and your arm will hinge only from the front muscle in the shoulder there. So if you bring your arm up slowly and feel that front shoulder muscle there, that is the only muscle that will be activated during this ball throw. There is no elbow bend, no wrist bend, because if we have bends, then the ball can go in all sorts of different directions. The arm, I like to teach this way. I know there is a lot more advanced ball tosses out there, but I like the arm to track the knee as we're coming out. So when you've got your front foot ready to serve, I like my arm to come outwards towards the knee. What this does is this gives me the opportunity to throw the ball into the court. If I do the J ball toss, which is the Roger Federer ball toss, if I'm not very good with my throw and I'm hinging round this direction and bringing my arm round, it is difficult to get that ball in front of me. So we always teach the direction of the knee with the arm to start off with. So that's the arm part taken care of. Checkpoint two is the rhythm of the serve. So the rhythm of the ball, of the throwing arm, is hugely important, and it is a slow rhythm. You have to remember that the ball is light. It is 58 grams. That is about 4 tablespoons of sugar. So you do not have to throw the ball fast to get the ball to go in the correct position. You can do it with a slow arm and a placement, which is where a lot of people go wrong. The slower you throw the ball up, the better the placement will be. The faster you do it, the harder it is to get that ball into the right place. So it is a slow rhythm, not a fast rhythm. Checkpoint three, and this is where there's the most amount of controversy out there with the ball toss, is how do you hold the ball? I always hold the ball in between the fingers and the fat part of my hand, and it's what I call the cup part of the hand. I don't hold it in the fingers, I don't hold it in the palm, I hold it in the cup, and then I have my thumb placed on top. The reason I do this is because if you hold it in the fingers, like a lot of people out there teach, you then activate your wrist a lot more when you're throwing the ball in the air. So if you have your fingers involved, you tend to flick out with the wrist. If you have it in the cup part of your hand, your wrist is then stable and you tend to throw in exactly the same place every time. The reason I came to teach this way, because I actually didn't as a junior throw the ball that way, it was I had a lesson, an older gentleman that had hurt his wrist in the gym, and he came for one of his individual tennis sessions one day with one of those wrist straps that you see weightlifters wear, the ones that sort of go half over the hand. And he'd always struggled, this guy, with his ball toss. And instantly, with this wrist strap on, he was placing the ball in miles better positions all the time. And I thought to myself, actually, that's because he can't use his fingers anymore, because his wrist was locked in place. So I feel for an intermediate ball toss, if you are struggling, get it in the cup of the hand. So no fingers involved. And then the final part of the mechanics of this ball toss is to make sure that when you have thrown that ball in the air and your aim is to place that ball maybe 6 inches above your head and a few inches into the court, so it's slightly in front and 6 inches higher than you could possibly reach at the top of your stretch up there. If you throw it too high, the ball starts coming down too quickly. It's difficult to hit the ball when it's got speed on it. So 6 inches above the maximum stretch that you can get. And once you've thrown that ball in the air, you've got to make sure you keep the left arm up afterwards to stop collapsing down. So it's almost like, you know, you're trying to use, you know, the force, or however you say it, to keep that ball going in the right direction. So you hold that arm up after the throw. The final part of this, and when you go away and you practice your mechanics of your ball toss, is I want you to make sure you always do it using your opposite arm as well, because I see far too many coaches out there that just get their players stood throwing balls. I mean, that's not how it works. There is two arms involved in the serve, and there is that, you know, the rhythm of the serve that needs to always be there. So make sure that when you're doing the biomechanics and you're checking the shoulder and you're going through the 3 checkpoints, that you have your racket in the other hand and you are getting yourself the racket position right as well as the ball toss, so that you're keeping that flow of the serve. We don't want to lose that flow, because then we have to rebuild it back in later on. So that's video number 1, the biomechanics of the ball toss. So hopefully that helps. We'll be back in the next few days to give you a couple of easy drills that you can practice at home that can help your ball toss. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Stay safe.